Novak Djokovic just did something nobody saw coming, and Alex Eala couldn't find the words to respond. It wasn't a trophy presentation or a viral on-court moment. It was quiet, almost invisible. A simple gesture that happened away from the spotlight. But once it surfaced, the entire tennis world froze. This wasn't about rankings, rivalries, or headlines. This was about respect, legacy, and a connection that cut deeper than competition. A 24-time Grand Slam champion and a rising Filipina star stood on opposite ends of the tennis universe, yet in one unexpected moment, those worlds collided. What did Novak Djokovic give Alex Eala that left her completely speechless? And why did it end up changing the way people looked at both of them forever? Stay with this story, because what happened next didn't just impact Alex Eala's career, it reminded everyone why tennis is more than just a sport. Alex Eala is a name the world is slowly learning, but in the Philippines, it already carries weight. Born in Manila, raised between cultures, and shaped at the Rafa Nadal Academy in Spain, Alex has carried the pressure of being the first for most of her life. The first Filipino to win a junior Grand Slam. The 2022 U.S. Open Girls Singles Champion. A trailblazer in a country where basketball and boxing dominate the spotlight while tennis fights to be heard. From the outside, it looks inspiring. From the inside, it's lonely. Being a pioneer means walking without a map. While American juniors grow up surrounded by tournaments and sponsorships, while European players are raised on clay courts and tradition, Alex had to leave home at just 14 years old to chase a dream that barely existed back home. Her parents made sacrifices that never made headlines. Her father stepped away from his career. Her mother managed life, logistics, and emotions from thousands of miles away. And Alex learned independence before she learned comfort. By 2024, she was grinding through the professional circuit, breaking into the WTA Top 200, winning her first pro title, fighting through qualifiers, and surviving the unforgiving ITF grind. Every win felt heavier than normal because it wasn't just hers. It belonged to an entire nation watching from afar. The pressure was relentless. When you're the first, you don't just play for yourself. You play for everyone who hopes you'll open the door for them next. On the other side of this story stands Novak Djokovic. 24 Grand Slam titles. Records shattered. Milestones rewritten. A career that places him firmly in the greatest of all-time conversation. But Novak's legacy has never been just about numbers. He has always seen tennis as something bigger than himself. He talks about responsibility, about honoring the game, about helping the next generation survive the same battles he once fought. He knows what it means to be doubted, to be overlooked, to be the outsider crashing a party dominated by legends. He has mentored young players before, offered advice, encouragement, and perspective. But what he did for Alex Eala went far beyond a few words. Their paths had barely crossed before. A greeting at a tournament. A photo in passing. Nothing memorable. Novak was chasing history. Alex was chasing survival. Two players living in completely different realities. Or so it seemed. Tennis has a strange way of shrinking distances. Sometimes all it takes is one moment, one conversation, one quiet decision to change a career forever. That moment arrived early one morning in Monte Carlo. Before the crowds arrived. Before the cameras woke up. Before tennis turned into a spectacle. Alex Eala was on court, practicing during off hours, taking advantage of empty space the way hungry players always do. She was focused, locked in, repeating drills she'd done thousands of times. Then Novak Djokovic walked in. Alone. No entourage. No media. Just a man with his racket looking for a court. He noticed her immediately, not because she was famous, but because of how she moved. The intensity. The purpose. The kind of hunger you can't fake. He watched quietly for a moment, then approached. "You're Alex Eala, right?" The words hit her like a shockwave. Novak Djokovic knew her name. He stood a few feet away, calm, friendly, no ego, no distance. She later admitted her mind went blank. Then he asked a question that changed everything. "Do you want to hit?" They rallied for about 20 minutes. No formal coaching session. No show. Just two players exchanging shots. Those who witnessed it said it felt unreal. The greatest player of all time rallying with a young Filipina grinding her way up the rankings. Novak corrected her grip, gave small adjustments on positioning, spoke with the tone of someone who understood struggle, not superiority. When they finished, he didn't leave. He sat with her, asked about her journey, about the Rafa Nadal Academy, about what it's like representing a country where tennis still fights for recognition. And Alex opened up. She spoke about sacrifice, pressure, loneliness, and the weight of expectations. Novak listened. Not politely. Genuinely. Then he said something she would never forget. "You remind me of myself when I was young. Fighting to be respected. Fighting to be seen. Don't let anyone make you feel like you don't belong here." And then he reached into his bag. He pulled out a wristband. Not a new one. Not a souvenir. A worn, faded wristband. One he had worn during his 2023 French Open victory. A tournament that defined his legacy. "This brought me luck," he said softly. "Maybe it will do the same for you." Alex froze. Her hands trembled as she held it. Words wouldn't come. This wasn't merchandise. This wasn't a token. This was history. This was validation. This was a legend looking her in the eyes and saying, without saying it, "You matter." She finally managed 2 words. "Thank you." Later, a photo surfaced. Grainy. Taken from a distance. Novak handing something to Alex. Her emotional reaction visible even through the blur. Within hours, the image spread everywhere. Social media exploded. Fans speculated. What did he give her? Advice? A promise? Then confirmation came. The wristband. The actual wristband from Roland Garros. The tennis world split instantly. Many celebrated it as mentorship in its purest form. A champion recognizing potential and offering belief. Filipino fans erupted with pride. Their trailblazer had been acknowledged by the greatest. But others questioned it. Why her? Why not someone else? Was it favoritism? A publicity move? Critics debated tradition, merit, optics. Through it all, Alex stayed silent. She didn't post. She didn't explain. She held the wristband privately, understanding its weight. Because to her, it wasn't about attention. It was about being seen for the first time by someone at the very top. And as the noise grew louder, one question remained unanswered. What did that wristband truly mean? And what would Alex say when she finally broke her silence? The wristband wasn't just fabric and elastic. It was legacy stitched into sweat and struggle. Novak Djokovic had worn it during the 2023 French Open, one of the most demanding tournaments of his career, the event where he captured his historic 23rd Grand Slam title and pushed his name even deeper into immortality. Every match at Roland Garros that year was brutal. Long rallies. 5-set wars. Physical and mental exhaustion layered on top of expectation. That wristband absorbed it all. The pressure of championship points. The doubt of critics. The moment he dropped to the clay in victory, kissed the trophy, and rewrote history. And now, that same wristband was in Alex Eala's hands. When word spread, the reaction was immediate and intense. Tennis fans dissected every detail. Screenshots of the photo circulated everywhere. Comment sections turned into battlegrounds. Some called it beautiful. Others called it unnecessary. Filipino fans saw it as validation on a global scale. Their girl, who had carried the flag alone for years, had been recognized by the greatest player to ever pick up a racket. It wasn't just pride. It was hope. Proof that the Philippines belonged in the global tennis conversation. But critics weren't silent. Why give such a personal item to someone still outside the top tier? Why Alex Eala and not other young players grinding just as hard? Was Novak trying to soften his image after years of polarizing headlines? The debate spilled onto television panels and podcasts. Analysts questioned motive. Supporters questioned why kindness needed justification. And in the middle of it all stood Alex, quiet, overwhelmed, carrying something far heavier than a wristband. She didn't rush to social media. She didn't capitalize on the moment. For nearly a week, she said nothing. And that silence only made the story grow. Fans waited. Media speculated. Everyone wanted to hear from her. Finally, an interview was announced. One conversation. One chance for Alex Eala to explain what that moment really meant. When she sat down, the setup was simple. No crowd. No distractions. Just Alex, a journalist, and a small table. The wristband lay in front of her. She looked at it before she spoke. "I didn't know how to react," she admitted softly. "I mean, Novak Djokovic gave me something he wore during one of the biggest moments of his life. How do you even process that?" She smiled, then shook her head. "But it wasn't really about the wristband. It was about what he said to me." She explained how Novak told her she reminded him of himself. How he talked about being doubted, being an outsider, fighting for respect in a world that didn't expect him to win. For Alex, those words hit deeper than any trophy ever could. She had lived that fight since she was 14. Leaving home. Carrying expectations. Proving she belonged in rooms where she was often overlooked. When the interviewer asked the question everyone wanted answered, Alex paused. "Why do you think he chose you?" Her answer shifted the entire narrative. She revealed that before the gift, they talked about pressure. About being the first. About carrying an entire country on your shoulders. Novak told her he understood that weight because he carried it himself early in his career, long before he became Novak Djokovic. He told her that wristband reminded him of every time someone said he didn't belong. Every time he was counted out. And he wanted her to have it because he saw that same fight in her. "This isn't about favoritism," she said, her voice steady. "It's about one fighter recognizing another." The interview went viral within hours. Millions of views. Thousands of comments. And just like that, the tone changed. The controversy faded. The cynicism quieted. What remained was a story of mentorship, respect, and legacy. Novak Djokovic responded in the simplest way possible. A single tweet. "Keep fighting, Alex. The world is watching." No explanation. No defense. Just belief. And belief, when it comes from someone like Novak, carries enormous weight. The impact was immediate. Alex wore the wristband during her next tournament. Not a Grand Slam. Not a WTA 1000. A hard-fought ITF event where every match felt like survival. She played with a different energy. A different confidence. And she won. After match point, she pointed to the wristband. The message was clear. This was only the beginning. Her ranking climbed. Her belief solidified. But the real impact went beyond numbers. In the Philippines, tennis courts filled up. Coaches reported increased enrollment. Young players suddenly had a reference point. Someone who looked like them. Someone who proved it was possible. Alex Eala became more than a prospect. She became proof. For Novak Djokovic, the moment reminded people of something often forgotten. Beneath the fierce competitor is someone who remembers exactly where he came from. Someone who understands struggle, doubt, and isolation. This wasn't a PR move. It was consistent with who he has always been to those paying attention. He didn't wait for retirement to give back. He didn't make a spectacle of it. He simply saw someone fighting a familiar battle and reached out. Other players noticed. Mentorship became a conversation across the tennis world. Legends began engaging more openly with rising stars. The culture shifted, even slightly, because Novak showed that legacy isn't just built on titles. It's built on impact. So what was that wristband really? A gift? A symbol? A passing of the torch? Maybe it was all of those things. Or maybe it was something simpler and more powerful. Kindness. Genuine and unfiltered. One human being telling another, "I see you." That moment left Alex Eala speechless. And it reminded the tennis world of a truth it sometimes forgets. Greatness isn't only measured by what you win. It's measured by who you lift up along the way.